igniting compliance and technology for the education industry. Today, Ciena supports institutions of higher education, post-secondary schools, and organizations around the world to achieve their educational goals. Ciena offers an array of client services in 3 major categories: compliance consulting, curriculum development, and EdLumina, our online education platform. Through our compliance consulting services, Ciena ensures that your organization is on the right side of regulations. We assist with state licensing, the accreditation process, and even launching a new school within the U.S. We have years of regulatory experience for clients that are just starting out or have been long established. Ciena also helps create what happens in the classroom, whether online, on campus, or a combination of both. Our curriculum development team produces educational content for all types of schools and educational needs. We can deliver curriculum for traditional classrooms, professional development, and even within our online immersive education platform, EdLumina. Over the years, EdLumina has grown from an admissions CRM platform designed specifically for education. Today, EdLumina also offers a student information system, an online course catalog with point of sale, and even immersive augmented and virtual reality training. But beyond the unique nature of services we offer in the education sector, it's our background, our experiences, and our relationships that set us apart from other firms. We have been involved in the education industry with every level of stakeholder, from students and faculty to school owners and regulators. At Ciena Education Services, we are advancing the power of education around the world. Visit our website, ciena.com, to see for yourself. All right. Hey, guys, welcome to another Ciena Education Services webinar. Extremely excited that you were able to join us today. Hello again from the Scholar House Media Studios here in Central Ohio. If you've been following along with us for the last few months, this is what would be the 3rd installment of a series on admissions best practices, engagement, and admissions technology. And so you might consider this webinar today the 3rd installment, where we really focus on admissions technology and how that can drive student engagement. So want to welcome everyone who is here with us today, but I'd like to introduce some of my esteemed co-hosts. So to my left here is Samantha Bauer. Samantha.
Hello.
Samantha's been with Ciena Education Services. And Samantha, remind everyone what your title is again.
It's Implementation and Support Manager.
Right, and that primarily focuses around our EdLumina platform, right?
Correct.
And then all the way beaming in from Madison, Wisconsin, VP of Admissions Solutions, Matthew Schmoker. Matt, welcome back.
But definitely not a Packers fan, so I don't belong in the state of Wisconsin. Guys, I don't know. Seattle through and through. Yeah, it's good to see you guys. How are you this afternoon?
Doing very, very good. Thanks for having us back. And excited because you're going to be traveling as soon as this webinar wraps up. You're hitting the road, right, Matt? Where are you headed to next?
Yeah, we're headed off to the AACS conference in Houston. It'll be taking place Thursday through Saturday. If you're going to be attending that conference, come see us and Anthony Civitano at booth 306. I'll also be conducting a breakout session focused on hiring best practices, management and leadership best practices for admissions representatives. And Anthony will be part of a panel discussion as well on Saturday afternoon. So if you're attending, please come visit us. We'd love to connect with you while you're there.
That's awesome. Great. Thanks, Matt. So what we're going to do today, we have a few key points, but like we expressed when you signed up, we're going to go over some of the top 5 CRM strategies for student engagement and what that means from a day-to-day best practices kind of a standpoint, and then give you some concrete examples from within our own CRM as well. So again, if you want to go back and see the past 2 webinars. They are available. You can replay them at on Sina.com. You can listen to them in the Sina podcast, and you can watch them on our YouTube channel, or actually just below where you registered for this webinar at Sina.com/webinars. So, all right, to kick things off, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to go ahead and go over a few of what we are tackling today. And so as we get going here, all right. So again, what are we talking about today? We're talking about the top 5 CRM student engagement strategies. And so, but before we do that, I want to take a couple minutes for those that might be new to us on this webinar and just give you a quick overview. Why the heck should we be listening to these people? Who are they? And what do they know about CRM strategies and engagement and all of these types of things? So most importantly, really quickly, for those new to the call today, Sign Education Services really has been at the center of merging and partnering compliance with technology since all the way back in 2008. And you might have saw that first slide when we joined. We are celebrating our 15th year here in 2023. So we offer 4 major primary client services. First and foremost, Adlumina is our online education platform, and that starts really with admissions. And in that same vein, we offer robust training and enrollment solutions. So I do want to kick it over to you, Matt, and just, I think we'll talk more about what Adlumina is, but as we get into this, can you just give them a quick idea of what training and enrollment solutions for admissions really means?
Yeah, absolutely. On the enrollment solution side, what we do is we examine your existing processes and strategies and look to optimize those so you can maximize conversion in every aspect of the admissions funnel, and ultimately, of course, enroll and start more students. And then we have a series of robust training programs that are available, from onboarding to novice level reps all the way up to your senior level reps, as well as leadership development and faculty development. So really a whole host of services to support you in your admissions department.
That's right. So at the end of this call, if you think, hey, this is exactly what my team needs, maybe they need a fresh set of eyes, go to Senate.com, check out the contact page, and then from there you can select admissions solutions and get in touch with Matt that way. All right. So the other 2 major buckets of client services that we're not going to talk so much about today, but they are sort of intertwined, is one, curriculum development and online media. As well as compliance, right? And so it's always nice to get help. I remember from my days of like working in schools, compliance was probably my least favorite part of this overall puzzle. So if you need help from licensure at the state level, accreditation, regulatory maintenance, all those types of things. What's great about Sina, though, is that everyone on this call has worked in schools, has consulted with schools, and I'm talking all the way from admissions to faculty to running a school. I mean, I myself, Sam and I, how many schools have we worked in together? 3 different schools.
3.
So we've worked in admissions together. Matt, can't even imagine how many of these different schools you have helped, across the U.S. It's probably a ton.
Yeah, it's a few, 1 or 2, but yeah, definitely a lot. But always fortunate to work with schools, no matter what type or size they are.
That's awesome. So, and I think what often separates Sina from a lot of other folks is we've got that USB based team. So we're always here. We're often local. You'll see us at these conferences and those types of things. So who the heck is Scholar House Media? So I worked with Sina for a while, right? Before we started Scholar House Media, celebrating our 3rd year anniversary here this month. But as a sister company of Sina, we help Sina and Sina's clients with a full range of marketing services for schools. So when I'm talking about marketing for schools, it's because we help cosmetology schools, we help trade schools, we help all types of schools with a range of services, and that includes websites, updating content, blogs, video, all the type of stuff that attracts students and gets them engaged, and of course, advertising. And again, my team, we've worked in schools as well, over 30 plus years experience in career education. So again, not to toot our own horns, but just want to give you an idea, okay, of who you're listening to, why it's important, and so that we can really dive into today's topics, which is why you're here. So again, top 5 CRM student engagement strategies. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what these 5 are, and then we're going to really work through some of what we've seen work at the school level. Number 1, we're going to talk a little bit about leveraging automated messaging. So these are messages that go out from your CRM automatically. You don't have to bug your reps, bug your staff. Make sure that they have these things sent out to engage those leads. The next would be best practices for email campaigns. And some of this stuff you can apply to emails in general, right? But specific to the emails that come out from your CRM, tracking them, automating them, and making sure that they are hitting your new leads at the right time. Number 3 would be the student CRM experience. So not just what a CRM does to help your staff, your team, and even things like your managers and all of your important data, but the students as well. And I think that goes overlooked a lot. The 4th piece will be lead management techniques. So Sam and I will be talking a little bit about how Ed Lumina really dials in where your leads go in terms of campus, program, reps, all those types of things, so that the students are being engaged in a way that is efficient and they get the attention that they need. And then finally, when you've got the CRM running, you've got all this data, we're going to be looking at data and reporting and how that drives your decision making. So from decision making on reps, advertising, all these types of things. So that's our big 5. We're going to tackle each one here for you today. So let's dive right in. All right. Number 1 on our list is for leveraging automated messaging. Okay. And so first things first, Sam, talk to us a little bit about what it means to establish a pipeline in your CRM and why this is important in terms of automated messaging.
Sure. So in your CRM, you want to have a pipeline. So we spend a lot of time on that during implementation of really understanding what is your process from the minute a lead is interested or a lead comes in all the way till they enroll, and really beyond. Now we've gotten farther with other clients, but just really understanding your process. A lead comes in, then what happens? So sending that automated messaging, someone will be in contact soon, whether it's a text, an email, but just really getting that speed to lead down. We know how that impacts everything when it comes to leads. So, just those types of things.
And Matt, you talked about this in a couple of your last 2 webinars, where you go in to a school and you really look at what their pipeline is to help them assess, right, what they may not know might be a gap in that pipeline, right?
Yeah, that's right, Scott. So there's several parts of the assessment. So we're looking at the pipeline itself, but what are all the stages that really influence each metric of that funnel, if you will? It's not just the strategy piece, but what's the contact strategy and what are the communications that are going on? How frequent are those communications? And then how do you manage that lead? So when we work with a new school that has invested in Illumina, we'll examine their existing processes, we'll make recommendations, and then what we'll do is we'll optimize Illumina with the correct steps and pipeline strategy so that a school can really effectively work that lead from the moment that it's received.
I think that's something that also goes kind of overlooked in this process.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam, you said it on some of our earlier webinars, is folks need to be kind of flexible with their admissions process when they kind of come into this, right?
Mm-hmm.
They may not really realize how much help we can offer, because there's really a strong piece of this is really about consulting. So
Mm-hmm. Yep.
the next piece here is, okay, we've got this pipeline set up, right? Now we're talking about timely automated text and email messages. So Sam, talk to us about what do you mean by timely?
Sure. So maybe the minute that they could become enrolled, we want an orientation email to go out to them, different things like that. So really just making sure that as soon as they're coming in or as soon as you're moving them through the process, that they're still feeling engaged. You're still, I tell everyone all the time, even after you click enroll and you enroll that student, how are you going to keep them stitched in until it starts? You can set up messages to go out, once a week, a text message, or hey, we have an open lab, come in and see what's going on. Just sending out those messages to really make them feel included every single step, like Matt had said, of the way, so they don't drift somewhere else.
That's right. That's right. Our next piece is, again, like we've said, you're able to engage leads throughout this process. And I think it's great to, speed to lead. As soon as that lead, really comes in, that's great. As soon as they've enrolled, making sure that they understand next steps. But some of these students, some of these, leads, their process may take a left turn, right?
Mhm.
And they may be, a cold lead, or they've like hit some life issues, and now they're suddenly, I'm not as engaged in the process. As an admissions and admissions leader, right, Matt, we don't always have the time to make sure that our staff is following up with those cold leads, right? And so this is a great way to automate that process. Say, okay, if they have been out of contact for 2 weeks, let's make sure your CRM is set up, EdLumina is set up to, engage them, get them back into the process.
Yeah, that's right. So, again, a rep's role is multifaceted, right? And so is an admissions director's role. And so you have all these new leads coming into the system, and it's really hard to manage all those while you have your existing portfolio of leads. So, as we establish sort of the steps and optimize at Lumina, what we will do is together collaborate on rules that we establish that, depending upon what is the behavior of that lead or what's transpiring with that lead, wherever they're at in the funnel, or however long you've been managing that lead, a particular communication, an appropriate and timely communication, as we just mentioned, will go out to that lead. So you can rest assured the system is working on your behalf and engaging with that prospect while you're working the new leads that are coming into your system. So simultaneously, you can manage a whole portfolio set of leads regardless of how long you've been managing that lead.
And you just said something really critical there, that the admissions rep role is multifaceted. They're in charge of a lot of things, right? They're engaging new leads, old leads, making sure that the students are bringing in all of like the documentation that they have to, complete that admissions folder. Folders. I'm kind of dating myself here, right? But ensuring that this automation is fantastic for freeing up the time for your reps so they can really be focusing on what they need to be as they have to prioritize their hours and their weeks, and even like their months. Finally, it's great that the CRM can be leveraged to really nurture a lead from when they are a lead to when they are an enrollment. But again, thinking even beyond that, they're in the system. You can help with student engagement strategies after the admissions process. Keep them engaged while they are a student. Help with student retention, right? All of all those outcomes that your school is really still on the hook for, right? You've got to like graduate them, get them into, jobs. So this can be leveraged for leads, enrollments, but also students and into that final stage when they are um, an alumni. And now you're worried about things like, things like what's
Placement. Yeah.
placement,
Yep.
gainful employment, all those things. So. All right, so that's number one, automated messaging, fantastic tool. The next one is a piece of that puzzle, which is best practices for these email campaigns that we have been talking about. And so, really, before I dive into this first point, you'll see on the left side of my screen here, this looks like a video you would hit play on. You can hit play on that video and watch the HTML email builder within EdLumina's admissions, that CRM, at our site at Sina.com. Click on admissions on the EdLumina page, and there's a number of fantastic videos there. For those of you that are on the call that already have EdLumina in your campus, you can check it out in the actual login, right, Sam?
Yep, under updates.
Under updates. So you can watch this video and some other training videos. But first and foremost, what we're talking about here is these email campaigns cannot just be about what they have to get done or why haven't they heard back from you. What you're going to get the most engagement out of is the ability to really demonstrate that student experience, right? And so how do you do that, right? It's really about a few things, right? Embedding videos, showing them smiling faces, showing them examples of what the campus actually looks like. These are the types of pieces of content that, one, you can automate out of your CRM and get in front of your students. Know if they, and then when these went out, right? So now from an admissions director's, from their point of view, right? They know, okay, these students have gotten these things, right? They are being engaged. Also important, right? Give them the opportunity to schedule a tour. So whether you use Appointlet or something like Calendly or, the old-fashioned way, email me and I will just put you on my calendar, right? Making sure that a student schedules a tour and follows up is another great tool here. Next, what is the critical next step? So now you have them, you have a beautiful email, they are engaged. It's really important for them to understand, right, what those next steps are. So again, back to what we were talking about earlier, Sam and Matt, identifying where they are in the process. These emails can really help to kind of show them where they are. Mm-hmm. And finally here, you want to give them some opportunities to follow you on social media, right? So providing links, embedded content, those types of things. This is more critical to students now than ever. So getting them to follow you on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, whatever, right? Again, this is one more piece of that content that they really, really engage with. All right. Let's talk about number 3 here. It says the student CRM experience. Now, what you'll see on our screen here is a client of ours, a real success story, Phlebotomy Inc. They are a fantastic medical training school in Central Alabama. I believe it's Birmingham, right?
You got it.
And so what we did for them is that we helped them to sort of see that CRMs are both for their staff and students in EDU. Matt, you've talked about this a lot, that students expect that tech-forward school, right? I mean, you've seen this, across a number of schools, right?
Yeah, absolutely. As schools become more modernized and strategic in their processes, they are definitely implementing technology from all levels to create the best student experience. I mean, think about it this way: the last home I bought, I literally bought it on my phone. I mean, I just clicked it.
Yeah.
There we are. All we have to do is close. There's a couple more clicks. So it shouldn't be more difficult to get enrolled in school than it is buying a house. But some of our schools that we initially engage with operate that way. And what we know is students want it very customized experience. They want it very easy. They want it very accommodating. And so technology definitely supports that need of the demand that our students have today.
Yeah. And so, I think that pipeline, that process is important for both your staff, but it's super important for the students so they know what it takes, what the expectations are. So what we see on the screen here is from this school site, they can click that online apply button, and then down here on the left, right, that piece is what it looks like when they first sign up. So they're able to go to a branded portal that matches the look of the site. It's going to match, everything that they see from there on. They set first name, last name, set their campus, email, password, and they're in. And then they can start that process. So if you've got that go-getter student, right, that doesn't need to eat that extra time of your rep, right, they can start the application process, right, on their own, right? They can do a ton of this stuff. So after they set up here, if you see top right, they can go right back to the student login. So the school owner, admissions rep, whoever says, hey, I finally got all of my vaccination records for this medical program. I'm ready to upload them. What do I do? All you got to say is, hey, click student login at the top right of our website and keep going. Log in and keep going. And then they can upload documents, sign their forms, complete this application, update contact info. I know we've all seen that, right? Where, oh, I have a new phone number. Oh, I moved, right? So they can update that themselves. And sometimes, very importantly, they can make that first payment. They can collect that registration fee, all of those things. And so, again, it's not just a want, right? It's almost a need at this point. This is what students expect.
Yep.
Number 4, Sam, I'm going to lean on you a little bit here, but we're going to talk about lead management techniques. And so we've already sort of talked about these clear and consistent processes within your CRM. And once we have those down, right, that's that first step. The next step is how do we route leads properly? And by routing leads properly, what do we mean?
Means really just how do you want your leads to go as they're coming in from the website or whatever marketing campaign you have going on. Do you want them routed by program? Do you want one person to get a certain program? I worked at a cosmetology school. I did mainly cosmetology, and we had someone else doing aesthetics. So we would have routed leads that way. You also can do it by percentage of lead allocation. Maybe you have a more seasoned rep and you want them to get 75% of the leads, and maybe someone, either just helping out or someone else who's just maybe isn't as seasoned, takes them longer to connect with leads. Maybe you can always give them a lower percentage based on roles, but just really leveraging your staff and admissions rep the way that works best for your school.
And Matt, you talk about this a lot in understanding your staff, those that have gone through, a lot of training versus the ones that are just been onboarded, right? You don't want to bombard those brand new reps with leads, and especially leads for some of your educational programs that are a little more complex than others, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And when you think about onboarding, what's so pivotal is making sure that a new rep coming into the organization is set up for success, and inundating them with a tremendous amount of volume of leads before they've even been able to master the phone or master utilizing the CRM would really defeat the purpose of setting them up for success. So to Samantha's point, we can program the system that your closers or your most seasoned reps can get, a majority of those leads, while your newer reps getting onboarded are learning how to handle more percentage of leads as they become more skilled in the role. And I know we're going to talk about this in a minute, but you can't do any of that unless you have a great platform host of reports that can give you all that data so that you know how to best program the system to set your teams up for success individually and collectively. So the reporting, the data is really going to drive some of these decisions that Samantha's alluding to here in this section.
Matt, if I could pay you for the perfect segue, that would earn you some money right there. Data is literally the fifth piece of this puzzle that
We
we're
didn't
talking
rehearse this at all. We didn't rehearse this at all.
So that's exactly right. So data and reporting drives that decision making. So you've got the CRM, right? You've been collecting data on students, marketing, reps, all different types of stuff, right? And so what we want to talk about here is, how do we leverage this data to make informed, empirical decisions about admissions, your school, and most importantly, your revenue? So let's, Sam, talk to us a little bit about what a pipeline process report does and kind of what that means. Before shortly, I'm going to just actually let you show.
Yeah. Okay. So a pipeline report is really just looking into those steps from lead to enroll in that process, and you can see where leads have, maybe hit a stopping point. Maybe again, they're all coming in for appointments, but after appointments, they're not converting to their financial aid appointment, or they're not converting to the next step. We have reports in Illumina just to know kind of where those funnels are. So, which is really nice to be able to look at. And maybe again, that's where someone like Matt can come in and help you really look at your process and maybe there's something else, just as Scott said earlier, a fresh set of eyes to kind of look at that.
Yeah, that's right. And then so from here, you can get a number of updates that drive a lot of what you do on like the marketing side, which again is hand in hand with student engagement, which is why we are here today, right? You can pull out zip codes, ages, high schools. You can see, truly know what your target audiences are, who are engaging the most with your school, so that you can make sure that you're making smart decisions about the first piece of student engagement, which is your marketing, right? And so, in regards to marketing specifically, if you have UTM data attached to, okay, they click on this ad, they click on this social ad, Google ad, whatever call to action at the end of something, maybe on a streaming video, right? You can collect and see in your CRM which campaigns are actually driving engagement, right? You can look at what are the different types of leads and vendor sources. So okay, I'm spending X amount of dollars, right, across 3 or 4 different campaigns. But these 2 campaigns are really where all of our leads are coming in. You can pull that data out of Ed Lumina after you have it all set up. And then, you know, Ed Lumina allows you to see like the differences in your social. So maybe you have folks that are engaging with your organic, stuff. They already follow you, but that paid, seeing what your paid social is doing as well is just hypercritical. And for those that operate in maybe a way that you think your CRM doesn't, right? And you just got a special way of like operating, custom fields are available. So whatever you want to collect, you certainly can and send it in there into that. And most importantly, where did they engage, right? Where did they click? So if it's a specific website or a specific page, maybe you may not realize that this page on my site is really converting into leads. Maybe it's got, it better demonstrates that student experience versus some of these others. So you can really tell within here. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now, and I'm going to turn it over to Samantha to just give you a quick run through of where you can find some of these things. Again, I know some of the folks on this call are considering Ed Lumina. They're already on Ed Lumina, those types of things. So we're going to go through these top 5 ways for student CRM engagement. So, Sam, go ahead and start us off by talking a little bit about how to leverage automated messaging.
Perfect. So within Edlumina, we've been talking, we have steps that make up our pipeline. So those also can be individualized by like campus, program. Not every program has the same amount of, is not the same from process from lead to enroll. So for example, here's just an example of a pipeline from lead to start. And we can set up automated messaging as we move them through these steps. So over here on steps under admin, an admin can set this up. You can have your new lead step, and as soon as they come in, you can set up their automated messaging. So for example, a new lead comes in, we want them to get this new lead email 1 minute after they hit the system, and then maybe we want them to get this contact one text, 1 hour after they've been here. You can also send it out at the same time if you want, but this is just a nice way to set up those drip campaigns. So again, if this was an enrolled step or an orientation step, you could send this out, to remind them about orientation. We have I don't know if she's on the call, but we have someone on the call. She has a dental school, and she actually moves them to accepted in a video, which in these nice pretty HTML messages go out to the student, accepting them, telling them that she can't wait for them to join the school, things like that. So you can do that with automated messaging with whatever step you want. Same thing with alumni. If you want to engage them, you can set something to go out every 30, 60, 90 days, however you want, to know that your alumni is still being contacted as well.
That's great. And as we head into this next example around email, I just put a link in the chat there for our audience. So some of these examples that we are actually going over, you can watch them again at the link there in the chat. So, all right. So this next one that I had actually referenced earlier, let's talk about HTML emails within Edlumina. And some of you may see this interface and really recognize it, right?
Awesome. All right. So these our great Scholar House Media team helped us formulate some and Illumina HTML emails in here that, again, you can come in here. You already have these in your instance. If you have Illumina, you can come in and put your own logo in here. You can use the wording if you want. You can change the colors, but it's very similar to I guess what a MailChimp or a
Yeah, constant
Constant
contact,
Contact,
right?
where you can just drag and drop these however you want to put them. You can have call to action buttons. You can drop in videos, smiling faces from your campus, and then too you can put any links in here as well. And again, we have I think 5 or 6 templates in here that you can use for your own campus if you have Illumina, and just drag and drop your info in here. They're already set up. But then you do have the ability to make your own as well if you have a creative type on your team.
And you can save them as a template,
Yep,
right?
you sure
For
can.
future use.
Yep,
Gotcha.
exactly. Yep, you can save those as a template, and then again, you can assign those to the steps, or you can use them as one-offs as well within the messaging platform
Gotcha.
in Illumina.
We had already sort of shown you some of the student CRM experience. Do you want to go into lead management techniques?
Sure.
All right, so let's talk about lead management some here.
Awesome. So in Illumina under campuses, this is where you can set up lead allocation is what we call it. You can set up the certain percentage, or maybe if you don't want that person at this campus, for example, you can remove them as well. But you can set this up. So let's say Samantha gets 75% of every single program, of all the leads in that program, and then we have this demo user getting 25% of just the barbering and skincare and cosmetology leads. Again, you can send this by program, you can send it by percentage, and then we also have the ability now to make a secondary lead owner. This is for maybe a director of admissions or something like that wants to be included on everything happening, every lead that comes in. You can set that automatically as leads come in to alert to people, and then they'll be on all the communication and things like that. The other piece is you can also set those manually in the lead profile if you don't want to set them on the front end.
Gotcha. So we've seen how leads can be set up. We've got all these messages, really going out. It's time to look at that hard data and say, is this working? Where are the opportunities for improvement? So show us a little bit about that, like the data side of this.
Sure. So this is a little bit about what I talked about, the pipeline analytics that you can look at by program, and then you can look at by steps. So based on the steps in that program, you can see how many on average that leads are sitting in these steps.
Wow.
So maybe on, they're in the application, but they're sitting here for a good amount of time. You can maybe see maybe your application's too long, they're not completely completing it, maybe it's different things like that you can look at, or maybe there's not a lot of follow-up after they tell them to go fill out the application and maybe no one's ever following up. So things like that you can kind of dig in and look, and then you can take this farther by clicking on it, and then you can see who those students are within that step as well.
So Matt, after you see this type of data, right? So you've got all these reports, you can see the pipeline, you can see where all those pauses are. How do you leverage that with, like with these teams?
Yeah. Let me paint a picture of a for instance that we hear a lot, and why I love our suite of reports, because it really can tell a complete story in a multitude of ways. Imagine a school owner or director says, we're not hitting enrollment, we're not hitting our starts. Go, okay, what do you think the problem is? And they say, we just don't get enough leads. We need more leads. We need to spend more money on leads. We need to up our spend by another couple $1,000s.
I've
And
heard that.
they have 2 reps, and they have 60 leads a month coming in. And what I often say, and this is what's so funny, admissions is usually at odds with marketing, and admissions is usually at odds with education and financial aid. Okay, they're at odds with everybody. But anyway, my point is, what we say to that leader or that school owner is, your problem isn't the number of leads you have. It's the way that they're being worked. And we need to look at the funnel and identify where are the leads slipping through the cracks? Which rep is not adequately staying in contact or following up with those leads? Where are they being lost really in the funnel? And so with the pipeline report that Samantha just showed, or many of the other reports that we offer in Illumina, you can really identify where the true problem lies in terms of meeting or exceeding enrollment and start goals. And then you could prescribe the right strategy to improve that gap, if you will, and make the determination. Is it a marketing issue? Is it a training and development issue? Is it a strategy issue? And we're happy to examine all those pieces with you to help you make really, confident, educated, strategic decisions about what to do next with your rep, investments you need to make, or process improvements.
That's great. And I think some of what you did just express there was, you know, what are the questions that we have to ask, right? What is it? What are the challenges? And for an admissions leader or a school owner, it can be really daunting to kind of understand, right? Where do I start? So what we want to really highlight here for some of like the final takeaways are, right? What are the answers that you need? So maybe you don't have all this data yet and it can be a little daunting. There's some really simple questions you can ask yourself, trusted members of your staff, admissions reps, these types of things. So here's just a few final takeaways for today's meeting. One, are admissions reps leveraging your CRM, right? If you've got reps that avoid your CRM because it gets in the way of their progress, or they don't want to do all the data entry, or all this stuff, that might be a first clue that maybe you've got some larger problems. Next, right? Is it time to reconsider the types of students and leads? And Matt, you have talked about this on some of the last two of this webinar series, right? Is that we've seen a massive shift in the type of student and the type of lead pre-COVID and post-COVID. And if you pull that data pre-COVID and you pull that data post-COVID, you'll see we've seen a lot, right? A huge shift in the types of students and the types of leads that school owners think that they are getting versus what they are actually getting, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And part of that is when marketing can also track the behaviors of those leads as well. So all that data can tell us a lot about what campaigns to launch, how effective are they, what should our strategy be once that lead has been received, the demographic information. Maybe we need to handle or work with that lead a little differently than a different type of lead from a different demographic. So all that data is available to you in Illumina to help you devise the right strategy for each prospect.
Great. So again, a couple more takeaways. You got to ask yourself, is it time to re-examine your admissions process? Again, talked about it specifically in that pipeline report, but this is really telling about where some of the challenges might be in your school. And often, most simply, right, is asking, are we making it simple for your team and for your leads? If you've got a good CRM, it automates things for you. It tells students and your reps where they are in the process. It can take a lot of like the worry, right? Some of the doubt, some of the inefficiencies across the board for both staff and students, right? Next, you can find out really quickly, right, Matt? Does your team need additional training?
That's right.
And so you can find it from the reports, but even if you just start to ask some of these basic questions. And then finally today, and that's what we're here to, obviously offer up, is it time for a fresh set of eyes? Have you been looking at your school's process, pipeline, leads, marketing, CRM, website, all those things? And is it time for someone else to maybe examine what the opportunities are here, Matt? And that's something we do here at Ciena.
Yeah, that's right, Scott. There's a lot of things to consider with some of the questions that Scott posed. And when you're looking at the systems that you have, the technology you have, the resources and the tools that you're equipping your admissions teams with, one of the questions you should ask yourself is that system, is that strategy easy, convenient, and accommodating? And if it's for the rep and it's for the student, you will have successful implementation of whatever the strategy, the system, or the tool is. But if it's void of those things, it may not be leveraged, it may never be utilized, and consequently, you are investing a lot of money and burning a lot of money without getting maximum usage out of the investment that you're making. From a training standpoint, we can assess the skill level of a rep in a multitude of ways, not just by looking at the reporting and the lead funnel, but through observations, we can identify what the skill set is over the phone or during an admissions appointment, or even just in process and follow up. We can identify what that skill level is and be able to offer some recommendations to upskill that rep, or even upskill and enhance your processes to improve the skill set of that rep and ultimately convert more enrollments and starts. So we can do a lot of those things. There's a multitude of ways that we can assess your existing systems and be able to make recommendations, and then institute the strategy and customize those systems and strategies that we know work and have worked for many, many of our clients over the years.
That's right. And if you're lucky enough to be at the ACTS conference again, Matt, where's the conference again?
Yeah, in Houston, we'll be at booth 306. So stop by, come hang out with Anthony Civitano and myself.
Right. That's right. And you've got a presentation that Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. So check the agenda if you are there. Definitely go watch and learn even more about what Matt can do to help your school's admissions team. If you want our assistance, I put it in the chat. There is the link to our contact page at Ciena.com. Really want to thank everyone here today. Samantha, thank you so much for your Edlumina and admissions knowledge. Matt, you as well. I wish you all safe travels. We will put a recording of this up on social media. Be sure to follow Ciena on social media, especially on LinkedIn. We'll also have it on our site as well. So take a look there. Again, I want to thank you guys for the time, and follow us as well, because we've got some awesome webinars coming up this fall too. So thanks, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Matt.
Bye-bye, guys.
We'll see you.
Since 2008, Ciena Education Services has been uniting compliance and technology for the education industry. Today, Ciena supports institutions of higher education, post-secondary schools, and organizations around the world to achieve their educational goals. Ciena offers an array of client services in 3 major categories: compliance consulting, curriculum development, and Edlumina, our online education platform. Through our compliance consulting services, Ciena ensures that your organization is on the right side of regulations. We assist with state licensing, the accreditation process, and even launching a new school within the U.S. We have years of regulatory experience for clients that are just starting out or have been long established. Ciena also helps create what happens in the classroom, whether online, on campus, or a combination of both. Our curriculum development team produces educational content for all types of schools and educational needs. We can deliver curriculum for traditional classrooms, professional development, and even within our online immersive education platform, Edlumina. Over the years, Edlumina has grown from an admissions CRM platform designed specifically for education. Today, Edlumina also offers a student information system, an online course catalog with point of sale, and even immersive augmented and virtual reality training. But beyond the unique nature of services we offer in the education sector, it's our background, our experiences, and our relationships that set us apart from other firms. We have been involved in the education industry with every level of stakeholder, from students and faculty to school owners and regulators. At Ciena Education Services, we are advancing the power of education around the world. Visit our website, Ciena.com, to see for yourself.